Roberto was handed the chance to keep Italy in it.
He's missed it, and Brazil win the World Cup.
Number 20. Tony Romo. When the Dallas Cowboys met the Seattle Seahawks in the NFC wildcard round in 2007, it came down to the wire.
Now you have to try to take the lead here with Grammatica.
With the Cowboys in the hot seat, all Tony Romo had to do here was control the snap, and the win would have been in the bag. But in a truly bizarre fourth-quarter mishap, Romo totally fumbled the ball as he received it, messing up what should have been a routine play. His attempts to improvise and run for a touchdown were stifled by a truly excellent tackle. But all in all, he could never truly shed the impact this fumble had on his legacy.
There is nothing automatic in football. Oh, the ball just slipped out of his hands.
Yep.
It was a good snap. And he went to put it down and it just slipped.
Sure, he had some bright spots, but there was a constant narrative that he was a choke artist. Number 19. Simone Zaza. Simone Zaza might not deserve the blame he received for his stupidly theatrical penalty style, but in reality, a miss is a miss.
And he's blazed it after an exaggerated run-up.
When Italy met Germany in the Euro 2016 quarterfinals, Zaza was subbed in with a minute left in extra time specifically for his penalty-taking prowess. However, this turned out to be a total disaster. When Zaza's time to step up came, his ridiculously over-the-top trot towards the ball resulted in him missing the target spectacularly. Zaza himself maintained that his technique was not at fault and that everybody misses eventually.
Took an age to hit the ball. The ball hasn't come down yet.
But the fans were not convinced. His career unfortunately never recovered. Number 18. Victor Ortiz. Victor Ortiz is the proud owner of one of the most hilarious pieces of instant karma to ever play out in a boxing ring. Fighting a grinning Floyd Mayweather must be the most frustrating thing imaginable.
Look at this. I mean, that time Ortiz tried to explode and everything was smothered by the hands of Floyd Mayweather.
However, Ortiz became so frustrated that he decided to blatantly headbutt Floyd as soon as he got up close and personal with him. This was very clearly an illegal move, and Ortiz was rightfully punished for it. But when he tried to overdo his apology to Mayweather, he made a crucial mistake. Instead of immediately defending himself, Ortiz went completely over the top, and so Floyd KO'd him for it.
He's still out as he crawls to the corner right above us.
He got suckered in. Floyd Mayweather made it seem like he would embrace him, and then he clocked him twice.
It was the biggest fight of his life, and he totally messed it up. Number 17. Ronda Rousey. There might not be a fighter in combat sports history who handled a loss worse than Ronda Rousey.
Ronda did not come out with that blitz that we've seen in the last few fights.
Holly Holm might have had a legendary pro boxing background, but seeing her piece up the seemingly unbeatable Rousey over 2 rounds was wild. Ronda was utterly exposed for her incredibly one-dimensional game in this bout, so when Holm finished her with a brutal head kick in the second round, it was no lucky shot. It wasn't just Rousey's subpar striking skills that caused the fans to turn on her, or her pre-fight trash-talking of the modest and soft-spoken Holly Holm. No, it was the way she refused to even address the media in the bout's aftermath.
I think I'd just rather not talk about that right now.
Number 16. Ernest Buckner. When a fumble is so disastrous that it's known simply as the fumble, you know that's a bad thing. Buckner had been turning in an otherwise excellent performance, but one key moment defined his career forever.
Ernest Buckner. Fumble the ball, and Denver has recovered.
A heroic charge into the end zone was seemingly enough for Buckner to score a massive touchdown, but there was one problem. Denver Broncos defender Jeremiah Castile had managed to force him to fumble the ball, and so Buckner ran empty-handed into the end zone, sealing his team's doom. But the Ernest Buckner story would thankfully have a much more successful final chapter. A trade to Washington finally brought about a Super Bowl ring for him in 1991.
Ernest Buckner went on to be a Super Bowl hero for Washington.
Throws it in the near flat to Buckner at the 5, dives for the corner, touchdown.
That erases a lot of those memories. But you know what? The fumble's still there.
Number 15. Mitch Williams. Mitch Williams was always seen as a bit of a wild card by Philadelphia Phillies fans.
Although Williams picked up a save in Game 2 of the World Series against Toronto, it was clear to some that after 71 appearances, Wild Thing was wearing down.
Poor judgment led him to throw a fastball right onto Joe Carter's sweet spot, contributing to his team's demise. Given that it was Game 6 of the World Series, Williams' reputation took a massive hit. All of a sudden, Williams was not trustworthy in big moments, and as you might expect, Phillies fans turned on him.
I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for nobody. I just didn't get it done.
If I suck, there isn't anyone that's going to tell me I suck worse than I believe it myself.
He was traded shortly after. Though he tried to mount a comeback with other teams, his confidence never fully returned. That one pitch became his legacy, overshadowing a solid career. These days, whenever the name Mitch Williams is mentioned, this is always the first thing that comes to mind. Number 14, Patrick Stefan. If you need proof of just how badly one moment can stain a player's legacy, look no further than the former #1 draft pick Patrick Stefan.
Patrick Stefan was taken first overall by the Atlanta Thrashers, but unlike so many #1 picks of the past, Stefan didn't live up to the high expectations, and after 6 years in Atlanta, he was dealt to Dallas.
Once seen as a major prospect out of Central Europe, his time in the NHL was derailed due to injuries, inconsistencies, and one truly unforgivable error. Missing an empty net like this is the type of mistake that can haunt you, but it was his casual demeanor and lackadaisical attitude that really sealed it.
Stepan steals it. He's got an empty net and a gimme. Oh, and he missed the net. He fell down, and with 8 seconds left.
This, plus all of his other issues, caused the Dallas Stars to opt against renewing his contract, ending his time in the NHL. Hip problems then caused his retirement at the age of 27. To this day, he is considered a major draft bust. Number 13, Lindsay Jacobellis. Was it ego that totally derailed Lindsay Jacobellis on the final stretch of the 2006 Winter Olympics snowboard cross final? Or was she simply trying to inject some fun into a tense competition? Well, with victory within reaching distance, Lindsay decided to cap off her performance with an ill-advised board grab, which ended up causing her to crash. She lost her pole position in this race, and understandably became the object of ridicule for years later. However, this story does have a happy ending. 16 years later, she would somehow fight her way back to the top of the mountain, winning a gold medal at the 2022 Games in Beijing. Number 12, Brett Favre. With age catching up with him, 2009 marked a real now-or-never season for the icon Brett Favre. His form was good all year, and his Vikings team was performing well.
Pump fake, touchdown Minnesota.
But in the NFC Championship game, Favre's resolve was put to the test in a huge way. The New Orleans Saints were bringing some real physicality to the table, nailing Favre over and over again with some incredibly rough and borderline illegal hits. Late in the fourth quarter, their intensity finally paid off. Favre threw a disastrous interception that lost the Vikings their best chance of sealing the game's result.
Favre sprints to his right, throws back across the middle, and he's intercepted. Porter. The return by Porter, and he's brought down with 7 seconds left.
Sure, it didn't tank Favre's career entirely, but it was undeniably the beginning of the end. Number 11, Andrés Escobar. When Colombia entered the 1994 World Cup, they did so with a generational group of players at their disposal. Never before had expectations been so high, and yet it all came crashing down in a split second. In a crucial group game against the United States, defender Andrés Escobar would botch an attempt at a block, inadvertently sending the ball into his own net. This would give the US the momentum they needed to win the game 2-1. Colombia couldn't recover sufficiently in Game 3 and subsequently failed to make the knockout stage. However, the real tragedy came just 5 days later when Escobar was shot and killed in the streets of Medellín, supposedly as retaliation for his grave error. He was 27 years old.
Cada vez que lo recordamos lloramos mucho, ya, porque te repito, era un buen jugador y era como persona, era una persona intachable. ¿Qué culpa? Un autogol lo puede hacer cualquiera. No tenía, eso no tiene ningún derecho de que alguien le cobre la vida.
Number 10, Mark Sanchez. During a 2012 Thanksgiving game, the New York Jets trailed 14-0 against the New England Patriots in the second quarter. Jets quarterback Mark Sanchez seemed to be confused with what play they were running, and in desperation ran straight into the butt of fellow teammate Brandon Moore, fumbling the ball.
And then Sanchez gets hit, the ball is loose, and it's alive, and then going into the end zone is Steve Gregory, who's had an interception, 2 fumble recoveries, and a touchdown.
The Patriots would not only recover the ball, but score in the process.
Mark Sanchez not expecting it, and it was the backside of Brandon Moore that knocked the ball out.
A quarterback who was once meant to herald a new era and bring an end to the Jets' misery, the butt fumble spelled the beginning of the end for Mark Sanchez's career.
I think the play was a microcosm of Mark Sanchez's career. He ultimately never mastered the most important element of playing quarterback in the NFL, ball security.
Number 9. Luis Suárez. During Uruguay's final group stage match against Italy at the 2014 World Cup, Uruguayan striker Suárez decided to bite down on Italian defender Giorgio Chiellini.
It looks to me, dare I say it, that he's had a little bite at Chiellini.
Surely not again.
This isn't Suárez's first time sinking his teeth into opponents. In fact, he's done it twice before.
Something went on. And Suárez does. He does exactly that.
Although he wasn't reprimanded during the game, FIFA later banned him from 9 international games, as well as all football for 4 months, and fined him a total of 100,000 Swiss francs.
The player Luis Suárez is banned from taking part in any kind of football-related activity, administrative, sport, or any other, for a period of 4 months in accordance with Article 22 of the FIFA Disciplinary Code.
Interestingly enough, before the tournament, Suárez insisted he'd sworn off those antics and didn't deserve his bad boy image. Well, this incident would not only prove that he does deserve it, but has earned it for life, in turn casting a dark shadow over his career.
Que uno en ese momento era difícil de aceptarlo y bueno, después uno es consciente de que lo mejor que tiene que hacer uno es cuando se equivoca es pedir perdón y así fue, tampoco.
Number 8. Nick Anderson. In Game 1 of the 1995 NBA Finals against the Houston Rockets, Orlando Magic's Nick Anderson needed to make one shot after being fouled with 10.5 seconds left to give Orlando the series lead.
Today, though, Orlando 12 of 15 at the line, and Anderson missing on both, but gets to the rebound and again draws the foul.
After missing both of his free throw attempts, he got another chance to make things right after the Rockets were charged with yet another foul. Instead, it was just another wasted opportunity.
That's in effect, I believe, yes. And he misses 4 straight. The Rockets take a timeout with 5 6/10 seconds remaining.
This mental break would prove costly, as Houston would send the game to overtime and eventually sweep the Magic, en route to becoming repeat champions. Looking back, Anderson stated that, quote, "I tried not to let it affect me, but my confidence wavered." Having since been labeled Nick the Brick and Brick Anderson, his scoring and free throw percentage plummeted, and he was never the same player.
And the reaction of Nick Anderson knowing that if he had just made one of those, it would have given the Magic a hammerlock on this game.
Number 7. Zinedine Zidane.
Well, there's what preceded it. Materazzi just put an arm round him. There was nothing more than an exchange of a few words. Well, what was said, that was ridiculous.
This was probably the last way anybody expected the French team captain Zinedine Zidane to end his career. During the 2006 World Cup final match, Zizou was constantly jawing with Italian player Marco Materazzi. Eventually, the trash-talking came to a head, literally. After an exchange of words, Zidane proceeds to headbutt Materazzi's chest, knocking him to the ground. Zidane was subsequently handed a red card and sent off. Italy would go on to win the game after outscoring France during the penalty shootout, where Zidane's presence and scoring ability was clearly missed. Although Zizou still had an illustrious career, it's this very incident that will be forever etched in our memories.
You can't excuse that. Zidane's career ends in disgrace.
Number 6. Chris Webber. In the final seconds of the championship game at the 1993 NCAA Division I men's basketball tournament, Chris Webber of the Michigan Wolverines suffered a couple of mental mistakes. After grabbing a rebound from a missed UNC free throw, Webber travels, runs up the court into a double team where he calls timeout.
Michigan will have to bring it.
Oh, he walked! He walked and the referee missed it.
Weber brings it into the front court. They have no timeouts remaining.
Oh, he causes too many timeouts. That's a technical foul.
He called a timeout. Michigan doesn't have any.
Michigan had none left, however, and a technical foul was called, giving UNC 2 free throws and possession of the ball. This lapse in judgment put the game out of reach.
Maybe in the rush of the moment, Jim, going down there trying to beat 2 men, realizing it was 11 seconds on the clock, he just blanked out in regard to the fouls.
While the blunder is still brought up, it didn't have a lasting impact on Weber's NBA career, as he would declare for the 1993 draft a few weeks later, where he was picked first overall and played nearly 15 seasons. Number 5. J.R. Smith. When you're facing one of the most dominant NBA teams of the decade, make sure you know the score. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case for J.R. Smith in Game 1 of the 2018 NBA Finals against the Golden State Warriors. After grabbing the rebound from a missed free throw, J.R. gave the Cavs a chance to win.
Hill misses. Rebound goes to the Cavs. J.R. Smith brings it back out. Throws it to Hill. Hill shot blocked. And we'll go to overtime.
Instead, Smith ran out the clock, much to the chagrin of a visibly frustrated LeBron James, before realizing the game was still tied. The Warriors would later not only beat the Cavaliers in overtime, but went on to sweep the entire series. To this day, many consider this blunder one of the worst gaffes in NBA history.
You talk about asleep at the wheel. I got to tell you something right now. That is as inexcusable of a mistake as you can possibly make.
Don't feel too bad, though. Smith did win a championship with the Cavs back in 2016 and another with the Los Angeles Lakers in 2020.
And that's it. It's over. This historic 2020 NBA championship belongs to the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers conquer the bubble, and banner number 17 will soon hang in the rafters.
Number 4. Bill Buckner.
In 22 Major League seasons, Buckner had more than 2,700 hits. He won a batting title. But in most minds, his career was reduced to one moment behind the bag at Shea Stadium.
If you ever hear someone say you Bucknered it, it is not a compliment. With the game tied during the 1986 World Series, the Red Sox were 1 out away from ending the 10th inning. Mets batter Mookie Wilson hit the ball straight up the first baseline and it rolled past Buckner's glove, resulting in a Boston loss.
Little roller up along first, behind the bag, it gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight and the Mets win it.
This forced a Game 7, which the Mets would go on to win. Although it was no guarantee the Sox would have won the World Series had Buckner not misplayed the ball, the iconic moment added to the curse of the Bambino and extended Boston's championship drought another 18 years until 2004. Fans at the time went so far as to send Buckner death threats, believing he cost them the title.
Hopefully it's Bill Buckner in the 86 World Series, but he was a pretty good player. Leave it at that.
Number 3. Roberto Baggio. It's no easy feat making a penalty kick, but when you're premier Italian soccer player Roberto Baggio, you have to find the back of the net. The 1994 FIFA tournament final came down to a shootout, and it was up to Baggio to keep Italy's hopes alive against Brazil. All he had to do was make one shot. There was no reason to believe Baggio couldn't do it, considering his ability to pull through in the clutch and the fact that he contributed to much of Italy's success during the World Cup, having scored 5 goals in their last 3 games. However, when it came time to shoot the ball, he sliced it way over the net, and with the miss, Brazil claimed their 4th championship.
He's missed it, and Brazil win the World Cup.
Arguably the best player of the tournament, it's this moment that would define his career. Looking back at the mishap, he stated that, quote, "It felt exactly as you would expect."
This moment may well be the enduring image for many, but Baggio's 5 goals and majestic tournament performance had still done more than enough to make his nation proud and prove his ability on the world stage.
Number 2. Marty McSorley. It's something you never want to see in hockey or any sport. In the closing seconds of a game between the Boston Bruins and Vancouver Canucks, Bruins enforcer Marty McSorley slashed Vancouver's Donald Brashear in the head. The brutal attack left Brashear unconscious on the ice with a grade 3 concussion. McSorley, for his part, claimed he was trying to tap Brashear on the shoulder to start a fight. A British Columbia judge found him guilty of assault with a weapon, and he was sentenced to 18 months on probation. The NHL suspended him for an entire year, and during that time, his contract lapsed. He never played another NHL game.
But at the other side of that, I'm really comfortable with the fact that people want to view that or whatever, that ended your career or what have you. I'm comfortable with the fact that I went out the same way I came in.
On the other hand, Brashear returned to action a few months later and continued his NHL career for another 9 seasons. Number 1. Todd Bertuzzi. Tensions were high when the Vancouver Canucks faced off against the Colorado Avalanche on March 8, 2004. The Canucks targeted Avs player Steve Moore for a questionable hit on their captain Marcus Naslund that went unpenalized. In the third period, Canucks forward Todd Bertuzzi sucker punched Moore and pushed him to the ice, and a bench-clearing brawl erupted.
Grabs his shoulder, having a little chat with him, grabs his sweater, gives him a whack, and piling on is Andrei Nikolic, and everybody's into it. Now we get a line brawl.
Moore was left seriously injured, with 3 fractured vertebrae and a concussion.
And he wanted to send him a message, but I don't think this is the message Bertuzzi wanted to send him.
The injuries were so severe that Moore would never play again.
Steve, I just want to apologize for what happened out there. But I had no intention on hurting you, and I feel awful for it.
Although Bertuzzi would return to the game after multiple court hearings, suspensions, and fines, any attempt at a comeback was simply out of reach. His production decreased, he bounced around different teams, and was constantly booed and heckled by opposing teams' fans. Things were never the same for Bertuzzi after this ugly incident. Did we miss any examples of a truly dismal moment for any professional athlete? Let us know in the comments.
This is the cardinal sin for any quarterback, throwing back across the grain as you're rolling to your right.